Hello and welcome back to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ethan, and today I'm joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, Ryan,
Hello.
okay, and Josh.
What's up? What's up?
So, really quickly before we get into everything that we need to cover today, we wanted to just quickly mention our brief absence from last week, just illness and work and just life. But it ended up working out because the NFL exploded in free agency, literally exploded. So we're going to kind of break down everything that's been going on, give our fantasy impact for dynasty leagues. I guess we can mention some things about redraft leagues, but Josh, I'll kick it to you.
How the turn has tabled, as I would say, the last 2 weeks, because
Tables turning, turntables.
I have never seen the NFL act like this in an offseason.
Yeah.
This is something that I have never seen before.
It's been very active.
Yeah.
This makes it a lot of fun.
Very active.
You guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it. This is going to be a long one.
Yeah,
everybody, really quickly,
everybody.
Listening, buckle in, get your popcorn, tell your wife to go to Target and just sit back because this is going to be a good one.
All right, let's
start with this. A lot to talk about today.
A lot to talk about. First story, we told you Ethan's number 2 free agent was Calvin Ridley.
It was.
The day after we post that, Calvin Ridley suspended for at least the 2022 season for gambling.
Gosh.
Which, man, I get why we get why.
I get why.
I understand why, but
I'm upset.
Yeah, the duration is a little ridiculous.
On top of that, I wanted to bring up, we just had an owner accused of trying to give money out to throw games.
And no sanctions.
And no sanctions. Nothing's been heard of yet. So that's
what's
still just
what's worse, NFL, throwing football games or betting on your team that you're not a part of to win?
But also, what's worse than that? Beating the crap out of your girlfriend or placing a $1,500 bet?
That's another. So that's where
you get a 6-game suspension for beating your girlfriend half to death, but you place a $1,500 bet and it's 12 games. Or no, 17, the whole season. Sorry, 17 games.
17 plus playoffs.
No.
Really?
And on top of that, he was not
like the
part of the team. Let's also remember that. Like he
was not in the facilities.
Yeah.
He was not in contact.
Yeah.
No game plan whatsoever. Had no outside
information. He was not practicing.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, they determined no outside information. It's just, I don't like it how the player, this is the NFL statement of saying, hey, you better be careful about this. But
you better not mess with our money.
Yeah, you better not mess with it. But I need to see them go after the Dolphins owner and be like, what on earth is this? If it's found out,
he needs to be
true.
removed.
Yeah,
he needs to be removed.
Yeah,
if that's true, remove him.
Yeah, that's my thing. And I keep saying it because we talked recently in the coaches segment, or a couple weeks ago. If it's even a shred true, he has to go. Like that's just that, because now you're messing with the integrity of the game. So if you're gonna go this hard on Calvin Ridley, go that hard on everyone else.
The big question is Goodell going to do anything about it?
No.
Is he going to launch an investigation?
No.
Like they're doing, with Watson. Are they going to launch an investigation into it?
That's where I hope outside pressure kind of forces their hand.
But if you're saying protect our money, well, he's still paying and everything. He's producing money for the NFL. So are they going to go after him? Whereas Calvin Ridley, I mean, honestly, I don't think they'd care about Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. No. So that's when the NFLPA and the coaches, they need to put pressure on the NFL
the union needs to be having a field day with this.
Yeah.
They should be.
A lot of players get paid for incentives for wins too.
Right.
So
or performance.
Or performance. So if the higher ups in the organization or in the teams are pressuring them to lose so that they get better draft picks. But the players,
Ryan.
I know.
Yeah.
But they get, they get money for winning. It's not a good situation. It puts a lot of pressure on the team.
Yeah.
So
It does. So, but as far as fantasy impact, don't play Calvin Ridley at all next year.
Yeah, do
And
not
as far
draft him
as
in your
future
redraft.
impact,
question though.
Hmm.
Startup dynasty drafts, is he a draft and stash for next year?
I say if you go past 10th round,
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
honestly,
what's his ADP?
I would
this
say
year?
10 plus. Yeah,
I go 10 plus. I would, even if he somehow makes it to waivers, I wait a little bit
Yeah,
because I think
Yeah.
there's a legitimate
maybe like a
possibility.
late season pickup. See where your team's at.
Yeah,
What
because
you
it's
need for
not
like your playoff run.
because it's not like he played a whole year, just got suspended. He literally hasn't played a half a season, now a whole season. So
Yeah.
he's kind of been out of
It's
people's
gonna be
minds
rust.
already.
Yeah.
I think you could legitimately, especially in the startup draft, get away with like not taking him at all and then sliding him in like last pick.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd say late round, if you're doing a, say, 25 round startup draft, I do late round, or even wait till waivers, because there's just a huge question mark.
The big thing though is Atlanta is still holding on to his rights as of right now,
Mhm.
which I believe that's still true, right, Ethan? They haven't.
Yeah, they still have his rights. They picked up his 5th-year option. Now they're not paying him that 11 million that's owed, but they still have his rights. It's like, when a player retires, but the team still has rights to that play. It's kind of like that
Yeah.
type of
Oh,
situation.
okay. So in that situation, you could see him back in Atlanta, but I think that relationship might be frayed. We'll see what happens. So
Oh
you
yeah,
have a
I
whole
mean,
year to figure that out.
in my mind, I don't know if the NFL is going to rule it as that 5th-year option picks up when he comes back from suspension, so they'll still have him under contract for that last year, or if they're going to have to say like franchise tag him and trade him, or if they're just going to.
Well, that's just messing with Atlanta. If you're like, hey, we're forced to franchise tag him. They
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
now. We could talk about this with another situation later on. They could rework his deal real quick to where it's taking out very little money this year, and then next year we'll see what happens. Like
Right.
a 1-year extension, basically.
Yeah. But in my mind, I don't think he's going to be staying. I think that's going to be a trade for Atlanta. I think they're going to try and get like a 2nd rounder or something for him.
Well, you better be thankful if you get 4th at this point. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
going to
don't
be.
think they're going to
5th
get much
round.
out of him.
I mean, if that's the case too, like if I'm Atlanta, I'm just going to hold on to him. Just sign him,
If that's the case, I
get him
don't.
to play.
I would look to see if he's tradable.
Mhm.
But if you're only getting like a 4th or a 3rd or anything, then I would just let him walk and then get a comp pick back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. Now, speaking of that, this is what I don't like about the Matt Ryan trade. Oh, can we talk about that really
You know
quickly,
what?
or do we want to wait?
Let's bring it in. Let's go. Let's just go
All
out
right.
of order here.
While
Okay.
we're on Atlanta, all right, with the Matt Ryan trade. Now, as a Falcons fan, I was never a Matt Ryan hater. I was never a Matt Ryan's the problem. We need to get rid of him. And I've gone before Josh and Ryan and said this a lot. All right, so they can be witnesses.
We
for
can
me.
vouch.
But I do understand in terms of Atlanta rebuilding why they traded him to the Indianapolis Colts for a 3rd round pick. Here's what I don't like about the trade. The 3rd round pick that they got is for 2022. What's stupid about that is if it's a 2023 3rd round pick, well, it will go to a 2nd if they make the playoffs. And then it would go to a 1st if they made it to the AFC Championship game.
So are you upset by the fact that it wasn't conditional?
Yes. So I'm upset that it's not conditional for next year.
So here's where I think why they were forced to do the 3rd round. I think Atlanta really wanted that. But the only way someone was going to take on like the dead cap was to do the trade this year. And with Indianapolis, like we have no idea what they're going to be doing next year. And they already are doing the whole conditional turnaround with Wentz.
Right.
So I think in order in order for, I think Atlanta had to basically, in order for Matt Ryan to get to Indianapolis, I think it had to be the 82nd pick this year. I don't know if Indianapolis would have accepted if Atlanta stood firm and went with the conditional 2023 third round pick. So
Right.
that's and the thing is now with at least Atlanta, you take on the dead cap now, but you're free starting next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of opens up their cap space by a lot next year. So
yeah.
And you take an L this year, get rid of a lot of cap space for the upcoming years. So
and I do like that in terms of like if they do want to re-sign Ridley, okay, we're gonna have that room. If they want to sign Deebo, okay, we have that room. And then Walker and
open for Deebo.
Yeah, I still believe in Deebo. He was still top 12 tackling. He's still a great cover guy. Like people really hated on Deebo because he didn't, lead the NFL in tackles. But man, he was a good stinking football player last year behind Foye. Now, obviously, Foye was a freak, but and ever since the preseason in 2016, I've loved that man. And I'm heartbroken to see it. I'm all out of order because I'm talking about the Falcons, and I apologize. We're gonna wait on that. We'll get to my heartbreak later.
But overall, I do think I think Atlanta's so screwed, and I think the general consensus, and I really do agree with this, is the fact that like this Matt Ryan trade should have happened 3-4 years ago. Yeah. If anything, like they waited way too long, and now we're dealing with the consequences. That's where
that shows you TD and Dan Quinn and what they did for the franchise.
That's exactly what I was.
TD, for anyone who doesn't know, Thomas Dimitroff. I should probably put that in. The most hated man in Atlanta.
It's not Freddie Freeman.
Okay, then.
No, it's not Freddie Freeman. Surprisingly, it's Thomas Dimitroff.
I see.
Yeah, and they played the waiting game.
They played the waiting game. They were honestly like, they're like, we can make it back after 2016, and then it just never happened.
And then they lost waited. The Eagles, and then they just couldn't get it back.
They just couldn't do it. And honestly, like it's sad to see because there's a lot of drafts over the last couple of years where they could have picked up somebody good as a replacement. And
especially last year. That's kind of the consensus for Atlanta Falcons fans is they missed out on the future last year.
So I don't know.
Honestly, they could have traded away Matt Ryan at last year or the year before.
I think
and gotten some pretty good money from it. So,
I think they would have had a higher chance last year. Because I think the whole conditional idea you had, Ethan, Indy would have done that last year. Where it's like, oh, Wentz or Matt Ryan, we're taking Matt Ryan.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
and if that's the case, honestly, Indy might have been in the Super Bowl over the Bengals.
Yeah, that's true.
If they had Matt Ryan.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about someone who is trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Now, I guess we could throw in the other deal when we're talking about this. Aaron Rodgers has finally made a decision. Staying in Green Bay, it also helps when your first 2 years of your new contract are fully guaranteed. But roughly $50 million a year. He signed a 3 year, $150.8 million deal.
Yeah, I'm disgusted.
Goodbye, Jordan Love.
I do not. Yeah. They initially
send him to Atlanta.
That's true. That's not a bad idea.
They said that they were going to get rid of him.
Yeah,
I heard rumors that they were going to get rid of Love.
Backfired in their face so bad.
Well, yeah, because Rodgers threw a fit.
And they should have just let him go.
Yeah.
They should have just let him go. Okay, see ya.
But by winning MVP 2 years in a row, like since that, you really just
this last year is a spoof. Come on.
But I also
fair.
But even if he did win the MVP, I don't think they would let him go if Love wasn't showing the progression.
Yeah, if Love was like,
Love still played good.
He was decent. He was decent. Those two games that Aaron Rodgers was out. He played decent. They just did not.
It was
he did
not
not
enough.
show. It wasn't enough though.
Yeah, it was not enough for anyone to go, oh no, this is like we can move on.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the problem. It was like, ooh, I don't think he's gonna be good by the time his rookie deal's over. And if that's the case, then you kind of just screwed yourself up. But after that Chiefs game, I bet you Green Bay just went, look, our best chances with Aaron. I don't care if Aaron's 45,000 years old. We kind of have to stick with him.
I mean, he's proven that he can play at an elite level. You know, he won the MVP twice in a row. So he's still proving himself. But there's a point where even if he is having those MVP seasons, you kind of have to look at the future and go, okay, when is the prime point to sell him? When is trading him going to be the most beneficial for us and the team? And it should have been. But I think they're holding on because of nostalgia reasons. Nostalgia, he is such a great quarterback.
But also for what happened a week later, to which if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm punching air at that point. Yeah. I am throwing strongly worded letters up in the sky. But let's also talk about this. Not even an hour later, Aaron Rodgers announces he's coming back. We get our first you look at your phone, you do your whole double take, like, oh, what just happened? And that's Russell Wilson getting traded to Denver. Now, here are the trade details, and I think this is a huge thing to point out. Denver gets Russell Wilson and the 116th pick, which is a fourth rounder. Seattle receives the 9th pick, the 40th, and the 152nd pick.
52nd, yeah.
And then next year's first, next year's second, with Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris included in that deal. Holy crap.
That's a great deal.
Here's my take on this. Why was the Deshaun Watson trade not more like this Russell Wilson trade?
So here's the thing. Russell Wilson is not getting suspended.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that answers that. Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's the whole point.
Yeah.
But also
now with that,
and there's kind of PR baggage with Watson.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I know a lot of Browns fans are rioting in the streets right now.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I don't think. Well, here's where it gets different. Texans didn't want a quarterback. They already said, "Hey, we like Davis Mills." That's multiple reports coming out that like they were not asking for a quarterback in return.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I don't know if Cleveland has anybody to where it's like, yeah, bring him over. He's established. He's ready to go. Everyone's still super young on that team. And I think that's what's different about it. So the only thing that the Browns could have had, and something they've been stockpiling for years, is draft picks.
Yeah,
right.
And that's where but this shows you it's like Cleveland has had enough of like experimenting. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
Right.
And so with that deal, now as far as this deal, Denver just said, all right, we're here. Let's go. We know that we can build a
Peyton
team
Manning
around.
2.0.
Yeah, this is literally Peyton Manning 2.0. I think great deal for Denver, great deal for Seattle. I don't trust Seattle to make it work, but
I mean, like if you look at it, like obviously no one believes in Drew Lock, which is going to be tough, but you know, there's kind of rumors of Baker Mayfield, so that might help a little bit if he can stay healthy. I don't understand why they re-signed Disley after they got Noah Fant. That made absolutely no sense to me.
I think
maybe someone can explain that to me slowly.
Well, maybe they're going for a 2 tight end set.
Instead of explaining it to you like you're 5, I'll explain it to you like we're in the 1970s.
Okay.
Pete Carroll likes to run the ball.
Okay. Yeah. And that's why Pete Carroll hasn't been relevant for years, but continue.
Yes, I think that's literally the thing. Because now think of it this way: they have Rashad Penny and Chris Carson. You have you have 2 tight ends, Disley and now Fant, because Gerald Everett is now with Los Angeles, the Chargers. So you have your 2 tight ends, your 2 running backs, and you have an irresponsible quarterback in Drew Lock. Well, not really irresponsible,
No, Fant can't block.
A young quarterback.
Yeah, that's a young quarterback, but.
Are we going to talk about that? Noah Fant doesn't block. That's not what he does.
So here's the thing. I mean, it is an upgrade technically
on paper.
on paper for 2 games, and then you'll be hurt for 5. But I think Shelby Harris is just there to fortify D-line, and then Drew Lock.
Yeah, I
think
love Shelby Harris.
They're just going to kick the tires on Drew Lock to see what happens, and then if not, they'll as I think Mina Kimes put it today, sacrifice for Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bryce Young's an option. I think Malik Willis is an option at 9.
Yes.
If they want to take that swing, but we're not here to talk about the draft quite yet.
Yet, but
I love Shelby Harris in the deal. I mean, Shelby Harris is originally from Seattle, so I mean,
this is the first deal that shifted the landscape, though.
Right. Like, I mean, this completely changed.
Okay, you have no idea. It's like they could be in the quarterback running. Who knows? We don't know yet. So let's go to the next deal. One of our top free agents that we brought up, Mike Williams.
Yes.
Staying.
Which I called it.
You did call it. I thought he was gone, but
yeah, 3 years. Both you and I thought he was leaving.
So this is like the anti-2022 deal, because I was looking it up on Spot Rack, which give or take may have some details wrong, but we don't know yet. Mike Williams signed a 3-year, $60 million deal. $40 million is guaranteed. Now, $28 million of that $40 million is guaranteed first year. So he's making $28 million this year, which is like completely anti of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about a couple more deals, but they're severely low cap hits this year, and it spikes next year. This is the exact opposite.
I mean, I'm a fan of the deal for him. I think he proved
good for him
what he can bring. I think he proved that he can stay healthy if you use him right. So now it's just up to, the Chargers.
And I think year 2 in that offense, he's going to be, I think, way more consistent.
Right.
Yeah, and I think them paying him this much, his first in this contract, the first year of his contract, is kind of repayment for last year. Making up for what he did versus what he was paid. And I think they're going to go with what I said in our previous episode when we talked about him. They're going to keep him for at least another year, and
at least this year.
They'll see how much he does if he repeats last year. With Justin Herbert and all the acquisitions that they've had this year on defense, he could repeat this year.
I think this deal is also very easily reworkable.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like it's almost like a very expensive prove it deal. So as far as like fantasy impact, which since we're going into receivers, I totally realized we forgot to mention the impact of Russell Wilson. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton go way up. That's about it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then like Javonte, I think stays the same.
Now, even Akumbwale, their tight end, Alex. Albert, that's what it is.
Yeah, he definitely goes up as well. Hamler and Patrick, I'm not 100% sure, but it's really dependent on how
I think Tim Patrick more. I would be happier if I'm Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton over Jeudy.
Yeah, and I actually saw a quote from Russell Wilson saying Tim Patrick, or mentioning Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton and not mentioning Jeudy. I was like, yikes.
Yeah, but I think I think Judy's going to get his because he's the main slot guy. Now back to Mike Williams. He's the 1 or the 2 for Justin Herbert. So I think his stock, keep it.
Well, he's number 1 vertical threat. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, the number 1
Keenan Allen is your crosser, is your dig, is your out guy.
I wonder because I think they want to use Mike Williams' physicality a little bit more this year. So I wonder if Josh Palmer becomes a speed guy.
I could see
because Josh Palmer really started growing up by the end of the year, and I think he's the bona fide number 3. And I think that's why,
which RIP Jalen Guyton.
Oh yeah, Jalen Guyton's done. It's Josh Palmer season, baby.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're a Mike Williams holder, in terms of fantasy impact,
you have to be feeling good.
Hang on to him. I see him kind of as like a DeAndre Hopkins type player, where at the start of the season he's gonna play, and then kind of wait and see what he does for the rest of the year. But I mean, you're going to be getting points at the start of the year.
Yeah, and Mike Williams has always been an up and down. He's either a make it or break it play every week. Last year, he was fairly consistent, surprisingly.
Yeah,
He's
more consistent than we realized.
Yeah, him and Brandon Cooks on the Texans, surprisingly consistent and like point wise every week, surprisingly consistent. So, I think if he repeats what he did last year, then this is a great signing.
Yeah.
If not, they may end up getting rid of him next year.
I mean,
but his deal's then
Keenan
very easily workable too.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of the best thing. Is like, you know what, you've earned it from last year, but now's the real test.
With Keenan getting older, though, I mean, I like that deal for them.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's a little bit younger. He's got a couple more years than Keenan does in the tank. I'm a fan of that. If I'm a Chargers fan and a Mike Williams holder.
That's true.
Which brings us to the next deal.
Yeah, our next receiver, which
is basically the same deal.
Literally the same deal, except I don't think the first year is as much. But
no, it's not.
But Chris Godwin getting franchise tag and then re-signed to literally 3 years, 60 million, 40 million guaranteed. You're like, you know what? Good. Like Tampa Bay was able to pay him. That's very nice.
Yeah. I think he should have gotten more.
He probably should have.
I think it's going to be able to the point where it gets adjusted again, kind of like the Mike Williams deal. It'll be able to get adjusted later on.
Because Chris Godwin's better than Mike Williams. You know what I mean? And that deal happened first.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
How are you going to look at that deal as Chris Godwin's agent and be like, okay, what's going on here?
There has to be a deal on the back end. I think that we're talking about already.
I think so, because I think that a majority of the reason why he got this 3-year, $60 million deal is because Mike Evans is on the team too.
Yeah.
So they kind of have leverage saying, hey, we already got this guy. He's our number one wide receiver right now. You're the number two. We can't be paying you more than him. So they may have that leverage of saying, maybe in your next contract, we'll look at it again. So who knows?
Yeah. Now, the head scratcher of off season. No, this is where
this is the worst trade of the offseason.
It is. Look, it is. It's the worst.
Ron Rivera tattooed no regrets on his forehead for this. Carson Wentz has been traded to the Washington Commanders. And it's a deal that had to take 5 draft picks to make it work, which says all that you need to know.
5 draft picks and drugs.
Yeah. And I think this is Washington's first big mistake since
I just think they weren't
name.
Sorry, they've been making mistakes since Robert Griffin III, Ryan.
No. Yeah. Second big mistake since changing their name to the Commanders.
They haven't done anything right other than get Chase Young.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they've done right.
Hey, Montez Sweat would like to have a word, but
Montez Sweat can
no, stop it.
But I didn't really expect this, to be honest.
This is
I knew Washington was
impatient.
This is a panic move.
Yeah. I knew Washington was looking for a QB, but I did not think that they would go after.
So here's the thing. Let's put this in the context. I don't think Washington was ever going to go for Watson, especially with everything going on and them having the whole issue with the owner and the old team president, Bruce Allen.
Yeah. Oh, he has sexual allegations. We have sexual allegations. It's a match made in heaven.
There you go.
We'll all have sexual allegations together.
Oh no. 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 That's their pitch is like, hey,
listen, we know exactly what that's like. We're going through the same thing. We're like the same, we're the same, you and I.
We're not that different. But so here's
the trade here. Yeah.
Here's the trade details. Washington receives Carson Wentz, the 47th overall pick, and then the 239th overall pick. Indy receives the 42nd pick, the 73rd pick, and then a 2023 third round
conditional pick.
conditional pick that could be a second round if Wentz plays 70%. So the exact same condition as last year.
Oh yeah. So if I'm Ron Rivera, quarterbacks are free game in practice.
I will tell you right now, I don't think this makes Washington unavailable for a quarterback at 11. I think this still keeps them well in play. And I think part of that is how good do you feel about Sam Howell?
Yeah.
Because or Coral for that matter. Because I don't think either of them, other than Pickett and Willis, there should be no quarterbacks taken in the first round. Yeah, I think Pickett and Willis should be the only first round picks at quarterback.
And not within the top 10, which obviously is hard with Seattle at 9 and Washington at 11.
They should not be within the top 5, but if I'm like Pittsburgh at 20, I have to trade in the top 5.
Yeah, but I think they're going to try out this Mitchell Trubisky experiment, which I commend them for. Because these 22 quarterbacks, why? Why are you going to take a chance on them when you can see if Mitchell Trubisky is that guy?
Yeah.
And if not, next year's quarterback class is better than this year's.
Yeah.
So whatever.
There's at least 2 people better than in this entire class.
Okay, so for those of you listening, Mitchell Trubisky was traded from the Bills to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, he was just signed.
He was
signed. He was a free agent. Okay,
he was a free agent.
He wasn't traded. He was a free agent. So he was signed to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And continue.
Yeah. And so I think I say let's combine these 2 deals here because I don't know. It just feels like a panic move. And they're like, well, we know Wentz is available, so let's just go get Wentz. He can't be worse than Heineke.
But Indy was more than happy to.
And Indy was like, cool, we're done. Like, we're done.
Yeah, we're done with him.
And especially because they know they should have made the playoffs last year.
Yeah. And Carson Wentz just absolutely choked.
Yeah, and I will tell you with 100% certainty, this does not move the needle for me for either Antonio Gibson or Terry McLaurin or even Curtis Samuel for that matter.
We will get into what I believe turns the needle a little bit more for them later because the Commanders made other moves that I liked. But
okay.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. But overall, this is the worst move. This is the worst move of the offseason.
It's a mistake. Yeah, I don't love it if I'm the Commanders. I love it if I'm Indy. Indy's more than happy.
Yeah, you got 1 extra pick for Wentz. Like that's
3 day 2 picks. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take that all the time.
Yeah.
Now
next trade.
Next trade.
Well, moving on, let's just talk about Trubisky.
Oh
Well, we already got it on the docket. We already started talking about it.
Trubisky
signed a 2-year, $14.2 million, 5.2 million guaranteed.
So that it's roughly about 2 years, $2.5 million at least. That's a good deal, and you can find out.
It's a good bridge. Yeah, it's a good bridge quarterback. You know, if you're looking for something, a veteran quarterback who's going to put a rookie QB under his arm and show him the ropes.
Well, a vet QB with first-round talent that hasn't been given a shot since Matt Nagy.
Yeah, he was an underrated QB when he was with the Bears.
So here's the point I will bring up. He's young enough to where you can find out whether he has it or not. And if he does, I agree. I mean, Trubisky right now is way better than the quarterbacks that are coming into the draft. So I think this is Pittsburgh signaling, hey, we really don't care for any of these guys. If Trubisky doesn't work, we got next year.
Yeah. Well, and I like him with Mike Tomlin. You know, Mike Tomlin's like a fantastic coach.
But I like it with like Deontay Johnson. Like the quick game's going to be there. I think he has weapons. Like I don't think he had this many weapons where you have Freiermuth, Najee. You have James Washington's gone, but you have Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and they could certainly add another receiver.
Yeah, right.
And
well, in 20,
the right
that's
situation
perfect range.
with the right team.
Yeah.
20 is perfect range to get a wide receiver.
Olave?
To get somebody. Yeah, Olave is exactly who I was thinking.
Dude, Olave would be. Oh, okay. Now that just got me thinking. All
right, before you go off the deep end, Khalil Mack has been traded.
So
to
this
Los
is
Angeles Chargers.
So Yeah, literally how we're saying it is like, oh, this is happening. This is happening. This is exactly how it happened the last 2 weeks. But this,
it was just all at
once.
once.
Been a crazy 2 week.
This trade to me signified the AFC West is not messing around this year. Khalil Mack traded to the Chargers, and all it took was a second round pick, which is the 48th, and the 6th round pick. What?
Yeah. Dang. I mean, that's disrespect if I'm Khalil Mack. And I know he's been injured like the past year and a half, but
is it the contract? Is that the issue?
Yeah, it's probably a mix of injuries and contract. Like, okay, he's been injured the last 2 seasons. His contract's not great. A second round pick is as deep as we're gonna go.
Yeah. And honestly, like
I see that.
To put also like another aspect, the Chargers' run defense was one of the worst last year. And I think if you solidify that up, that also forces like that. This is good for Austin Eckler. Maybe you get a couple more just running the ball, or it lets.
I'm happy I made that trade for Eckler.
Yeah, it lets the Chargers dictate the pace of the game, especially when you get people who can stop the run. So that's where I feel like wait and see. I think they may need to make a couple more moves, but this is a good first step. Now,
it is
another trade.
Another one. And we're up to DJ Khaled.
So I'm going to combine a trade. So Amari Cooper gets traded to Cleveland, and this is right after. Yeah, first off,
I
have a whole lot of thoughts on because I want to combine this with the Michael Gallup deal. And I will tell you, I don't know who needs to hear this within Dallas, but there's no way Michael Gallup's better than Amari Cooper.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And and I will take Amari Cooper's contract 100% over re-signing
Mike McCarthy, if you're listening.
Because
take the cheeseburger out of your mouth.
Now here is the disrespect. All the trade
or the cheerleaders. I don't know.
Cleveland gets Amari Cooper in 202, and Dallas gets 155 and 193. Amari Cooper is at least a third to fourth round pick, not a fifth and a sixth.
Yeah.
I agree
and his deal isn't even bad.
Yeah,
like his contract isn't,
and he's in the last year. You can extend it, like you can restructure it to where it splits 10 and 10.
Yeah, and save cap. Yeah,
exactly. So I was like, I don't understand what Dallas is doing here. And then especially when you look at Michael Gallup's deal is 5 years, 57 mil, 27 guaranteed.
Yeah.
Now
I think what they were doing is they thought they were banishing him to Baker Mayfield land. And there's going to be a ha-ha, you're with Baker Mayfield, sucks for you. And we disrespected you twice by getting a 5th and 6th.
Yeah.
I think it was more of like that than
but
anything.
Like he was the perfect guy for that offense. Like he was the route runner.
Yeah. He might not have wanted to come back. I mean, we don't really know what went on in the locker room.
It was a trade.
I mean, it had to have been. It had to have been because this is let's get anything we can.
I mean, there were always rumors going around that there was kind of grumbling in the wide receiving, core. And I don't know. Maybe Amari just wanted out, and this was their way of saying, "All right, screw you, go ahead and leave." Like we'll just get
Baker Mayfield land for you.
Yeah. But if I'm Dallas, why am I would have let Gallup leave.
Yeah.
For someone who is way less injury dependent.
Not coming off of an ACL when he's 27 years old.
That's true.
I don't even like Michael Gallup's good, but like 5 for 57 is such a projection.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my issue. I think
maybe
more
they just have a lot of faith in him.
So
who knows?
I don't think it's in him. I think it's in CeeDee Lamb that they have faith in.
Yeah,
that's my thing. If you want it, so
you don't pay the backup if you have. You don't pay the backup that much if you have faith in the number one.
Yeah, that's true. Fantasy.
Well, I think they're going to learn a hard lesson.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, they overpaid for their running back, and their QB.
Yeah.
So
it all started with their backup running back refusing to come to practice and to training camp, and I don't know where he was vacationing at, but wherever Tony Pollard was.
Really?
Yeah, he was on vacation. Remember, there's the whole thing going on with Dallas. He wasn't showing up to training camp. or
Sure.
workouts or OTAs or anything until he got paid. And then they pay Tony Pollard all this money and they can't afford to keep Amari Cooper and Gallup.
Oh,
I think without a doubt,
not
as
gonna
far
get
as
started on that.
yeah, fantasy impact. I mean, Gallup is interesting, but this Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore offense has not held up a wide receiver 2 very well.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
I am still
It's
saying
been
hold
one
on.
wide receiver dependent per game. Like
Yeah.
it's either Amari Cooper, CD, or Gallup.
Still
Yeah,
look
But it's
at
not going to be
Bias.
one or two.
yeah, still look
Whole
at
lot of
Dalton Schultz,
inconsistency.
still look at
Mhm.
CD Lamb. Obviously, Tony Pollard, Zeke are their own thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
overall, I think Amari Cooper definitely way up now that he's receiver 1 in Cleveland.
But and
Yeah,
I think
with
CD's
Deshaun, which
stock
is
goes
later,
up too.
Yeah, well, later. And so we can even add this. Jarvis Landry got cut. So it's literally Amari
Yeah.
Cooper and the bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amari Cooper and his stable of hoes.
Oh, no.
My gosh.
Oh, boy. All right.
It's a Chuck reference for anyone who's old enough to understand it.
No, I knew exactly where you went there. So,
Yes, sir. All right,
ne-
we're good.
next deal. Zach Ertz and James Conner
Well,
go
hold
back.
on, really quickly. Before
Okay.
we get to Zach Ertz, one thing else I want to mention for Dallas is I believe in Kellen. It's Mond, right? Or is it Kellen?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen
Kellen
Moore.
Moore.
Mond is quarterback for the Vikings.
Yes.
Moore is the coach. I believe in Kellen Moore's system. I love that Dallas system. And I think with a less crowded wide receiver room, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Josh, when you say I don't believe in that contract for Gallup. Like that's too much.
They overpaid.
Yeah.
Totally
They
agree.
overpaid.
All right. Zach Ertz, James Conner re-signing with Arizona. Good on
Yep.
them, honestly. Zach Ertz
If
is
you
a
own
pretty
James
solid
Conner,
deal,
Yes.
If you own
Yeah.
James Conner, you're happy.
which I believe is
Yeah.
Kayla for
Yeah.
our league. So
Yep.
keep
she's
James
she's
Conner.
got a number one running back there.
He's a workhorse.
I am afraid though that James Conner's not going to hit the numbers that he did last year.
He might not, but he's not
That's
sharing
cool.
the backfield.
That is true. He is not. I mean, here's what's crazy is that I guess Benjamin's that good to where they're like, yeah, you know what, Chase Edmonds, you can go.
Yeah.
And Chase Edmonds has always been the guy like, watch out for him, and then he just.
But no one's ever given him a chance, which makes me so mad because I love Chase Edmonds. That guy's electric.
Yeah. He's played really well. He's just
I
never really
plugged him
got a
into
solid chance.
I plugged him in during our fantasy playoffs, and I mean 2 playoff games, he got me over 20 points when they started him, and James Conner was injured.
Yep.
Yeah, he's good. I don't get why they just don't use him, and I think he
I
fit the
just
Cliff
hope Miami
system
uses
really
him.
well.
Yeah, I just hope Miami plugs him in, uses him. RIP Ahmed, or Selvin Ahmed, and Gaskin. But
Yep,
it's worth it.
Gaskin's gone. But guess who's not gone? Who we thought was gone, but is back. Tom
Back
frickin'
again.
Brady.
Brady's
Yeah.
back.
What?
My QB, when I found out that he had retired, in the back of my head, I'm going, I should keep him. I should keep him on my roster. I just had a feeling. I was
Now,
like,
devil on his shoulder.
I need to keep him. I need to keep him on my roster.
Got him.
We won't pick him up.
And
Ryan.
I about started crying when I saw that he was
Dude,
coming back.
I legit was just shocked. I was like, yeah, he saw the gas prices and said, I'm coming back and playing football.
No, honestly,
No,
it's
he
his
went
wife.
home and spent
I'm telling
2
you,
months.
it's his wife.
Yeah, he went home and spent 2 months with his wife and kids and was like, screw this. I'm coming back to football.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I have to do things and my wife's
Oh
annoying.
my gosh.
No.
And she wants to spend all this money that I don't have anymore.
Look, Brady can't be that bad of a financial money manager. He can't be.
No,
that
I'm
bad.
sure he's a smart guy. But
Yeah.
no,
but
I mean,
either
I
way-
really think it was. He realized that he had more in the tank. And like you shouldn't stop. I'm sure he talked with some other guys who are retired and who were probably talking about like, look, I just couldn't do it anymore. Like I just could not do it anymore. And like if you can still play, you should.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's more of that than anything else.
When we were talking about it, it's like he's the first one to beat Father Time, to be honest with you. And like
no
he
joke.
played
And
really good, and now he gets
yeah,
everybody. He still gets everybody back. That's why the Godwin deal. Like as soon as I saw, I was like, you
Yeah.
gave him money, but
Yeah.
he could have gotten more. And it's like, ooh,
And I expect to see
there's a quarterback
Gronk
coming.
resign soon. Like Gronk will be resigning
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah,
Is my
Gronk will be
prediction for like the
re-signed.
next
see, and
week or two.
that's why I admire him. I used to be a Tom Brady hater.
No, me
I really
too.
did.
But that's because we're from
I
Denver, Ryan.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I used to be a Tom Brady hater. I did not like him, but I have over the years I have really come to respect him,
Yeah.
not only in his play but also in the way that he like manages. I want to say his contracts,
Yeah.
because he lets
He
money
takes
go.
cuts. Yeah.
He lets money go so that he can build a team around him.
My
so
my
that the
bold
coaches can
statement:
build the team around
Tom
him.
Brady is
And, like-
everything. Tom Brady is everything that Aaron Rodgers is not.
Exactly.
My bold
I mean,
statement.
I think that's a fair
he has
statement.
he has the skill. He has the skill of Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, they're both very talented. Except Tom Brady just has the mind for football. But honestly, I could see him after this becoming a coach. Like
Yeah, or an agent.
truly becoming a coach. I mean, he has the mind for football. But the way that he's like let money go over the years so that teams can build around him, the people, I mean, for one, to protect him, because that's why he has this longevity. He's not getting hit all the time. I mean, he's had seasons where he's had bad offensive linemen, but they've corrected that and he's been able to keep going.
God,
But I seriously respect that.
Can you imagine Tom Brady as a Super Bowl winning coach? I don't know
It's
what I would
possible.
do at that point.
It is definitely possible.
I think it's very possible.
At what point do we just, like take him out back and, shoot him in the leg or something?
had
Be like, all right, we're
I've had
retiring
enough.
you.
Yeah,
Like
you're done,
we're
Lassie.
retiring you. You're done.
Crank the shotgun, rack that thing, and shoot him in the leg or something. I'm telling you.
No, but I'm glad he's back, and I'm definitely going to stash him.
I mean, as high as you think of Mike Evans and Godwin and Fournette now, and then Brady,
Yeah.
Brady
Well, I mean,
knows
Mike
changes
Evans.
everything.
Mike Evans is wide receiver one, especially with upside of Chris Godwin missing the beginning of the season. Gronk has a lot of upside at the start of the season, but then Chris Godwin's going to come back.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, Chris Godwin's going to recover from this.
Now that's
I
I would be entertaining trades for Tom Brady in our league.
Actually, Ryan.
If anybody,
Ryan, you want to repeat that real quick?
Ryan, I'd be entertaining trades.
We're going to talk,
for Tom
Ryan.
Brady.
Ryan, we're going to talk because I need something for this.
I mean, he was number 4 last year. He was number 1 up until like week 15.
Yeah,
week 14.
for a long time.
He was
until
number
Chris
1
Godwin got injured.
Yeah. So
and then Justin Herbert took over.
I entertain a trade for draft picks.
What do you want, Ryan? Come out right now. What do you want?
Oh shoot! This just came to my head. All right, this just came to me. So I'm like,
hot offer.
I'm still thinking about it.
What's your initial offer?
Ethan, what would you give up for Tom Brady?
Yeah, I'm willing to field trades.
Look,
what would I give up for Tom Brady for 2 years?
Ryan, put it in sleeper right now. Put him on the trade block.
Well, I initially put it up there whenever.
Ryan, I'll give you a crisp
really?
5. What about that?
Yeah, I did. I don't think I took him down either.
Oh, did you really?
Because
whenever he retired, I jokingly put him up for a trade.
He's still on the trade block.
Michaela doesn't want to give up Stafford, which doesn't make any sense. So
I mean, I get it. I get it.
Let's talk Tom. Well, and speaking of Stafford, just signed his deal. He just got $160 million deal.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you win the Super Bowl.
I just traded for Joe Burrow, so I'm all
set. You have your succession plan,
and I have Trevor Lawrence. So,
which actually, that's a great segue. Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence because Jacksonville has stepped it up. They said we're getting him help. So let's go with
Let's
help.
Do it.
Let's start with the three main deals.
Okay. Yes, let's talk about the 3 main deals. Number 1, Christian Kirk
somehow gets
Jacksonville.
$72 million.
Oh, the big Jacksonville.
What?
Okay.
What in the
Forget
ever-
Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry sucks.
Yeah. What in the ever living frick were they talking about were they thinking about?
Dude, I don't know. I love
when
Christian
they
Kirk.
signed him for 4 years, $72 million.
Listen,
He's
I'm a
never
fan.
been-
I'm a fan.
How?
Not for 72 mil.
I'm
not a
$72 million.
fan for
Hold
that
on.
much.
I'm a fan.
He is one of the top paid wide receivers, and he's been a third stringer for the last 3 years.
Yeah,
I
Behind
love
Fitzgerald
I
this
love
is a
Christian
and
Kirk.
potential.
DeAndre Hopkins.
This is just potential, written all over it.
Yeah, this
I
is
don't
a
mind
young
the
guy
bafflement.
getting signed.
See, I'm just baffled by how much they
Now I
don't
can
know, they
can
find
understand
that
why
much
people are
worth in
upset.
them.
You know, I can understand people being upset, but I think if you give Christian Kirk more reps because he wasn't getting
Yeah.
the amount of reps that he should have been under Cliff, I think the talent is there personally. I love Christian.
I
Kirk.
will
talent is there.
say though, this year's a prove it deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The talent is there, but is he say DeAndre Hopkins or a Devontae?
Well, it's a different.
Adams?
If it's a different style,
Is-
like I would
So,
compare him more to
let's-
Tyler Lockett than anything.
So according to
yeah, but even Tyler Lockett isn't. I don't think he's worth that much.
Well, I view Christian Kirk as a more consistent Tyler Lockett,
all right, let's look
which
at this.
makes the money more worth it in my head.
I'm a hater of this trade.
That's fine.
I don't like it.
Well, or signing.
I respect it if they find worth in him, and if they, for one, capitalize on it. I'm all in.
Now,
if
but here's my thing too: is if I'm
he is good-
Jacksonville, why are they entertaining signing Christian Kirk when they could have traded for Amari Cooper?
Probably because they want a young guy.
they probably
But Amari Cooper's still, you know.
I don't
I mean, he's not
see
that
this.
young.
So this is where I think a lot. Remember the initial report for Amari Cooper was like he was going to get cut. And I wonder how many teams were like, we're just going to wait till he gets released. Let's not waste any draft capital.
Right. Well, I
And
know that's what
especially
Atlanta was doing.
Yeah, and then I think the Browns, which we'll talk about with the other deal, took no for an answer. Did not take no for an answer,
Yeah.
and that's how it got done.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're looking at the Christian Kirk deal. His base salary this year is 1.5 mil, and then it goes up to 15, 14, and then 15 again.
Which isn't horrible.
It's not
honestly.
horrible, but it's something that we talked about, that because of the cap boom next year, you're having a lot of really low cap hits this year, and then it's spiking next year. But
Right.
the only thing about this deal is that you are married to him, the Christian Kirk. You're expecting him to be
Yeah.
the number one
They
guy.
they better make beautiful children.
Yeah, they bet. Yeah, they better.
Yeah.
One
Because-
ugly redheaded stepchild, and
First,
that
all right,
that
okay,
fan
okay.
base
We
is-
don't need to attack the redheaded children here. How dare you?
Okay. Well, I'm talking about a very specific redheaded stepchild, not redheads in general.
I am the son of a redhead.
Because we stan Annie Dalton, but it's the stepchildren that are the problem.
Oh my no. You lost me. But
It makes sense if you don't think about it, Richter.
No, it just doesn't make sense at all. But this
All
is
right,
not
anyways.
the only deal they made. 30
Yep, back
million
to
went to
Jacksonville.
Zay Jones, and then a 1-year deal with Evan Ingram. I love these. Here's what I love about what Jacksonville's doing. They are going out and giving Trevor Lawrence a fair shot, which,
Yeah.
let's be honest, last year he did not
They
get
did.
a fair shot.
Yeah.
And he probably regressed, to be quite honest with you. I mean, everyone regresses under the old Urban Meyer chop house. But but
And we don't have it on here too, but they also tagged Cam Robinson.
thank you for bringing that up, because I knew I forgot
That's
something.
very important.
So let's talk about this, because this impacts the draft, and this does impact a few things. Jacksonville does have the first pick. They franchise tag their tackle. I don't think that means that they're going to go defense with the first pick.
I think they need to stick with the O-line.
Yeah, I think you have an elite tackle there. I think
Oh, the other thing. Oh my goodness, the other really big thing is they got Brandon Sheriff.
Yes. So they. Oh yes. Thank you. We brought up Brandon Sheriff last time. So
Yes.
you solidified guard. I still think they kind of need to go tackle still.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Unless
Evan
you're
Neal
thinking of
is still playing.
moving Cam Robinson to either the right side. A lot of teams that started talking about Charles Cross on the right side. So in that case, one of the top tackles I still think is most likely going first.
Yeah, no, I hope they do. I mean, a lot of people have them taking Hutchinson first overall, like Mel Kiper is one, and there are a couple other ESPN
Mel
guys.
Kiper?
Yeah, or Kipler, whatever.
Kiper.
Piper, I don't give a crap. His projections are always
Mel
wrong
Kiper.
anyway. So Mel makes bad predictions for the NFL draft, but gets paid millions of dollars. Anyways,
But
they're still going to take a tackle.
overall, with all these deals, I think Evan Ingram's the sneaky good one, to be honest
Oh
with
yeah,
you.
he's
That's
so
the
good.
sneaky good one.
Yeah,
But
he's so
I
good.
think overall, Trevor Lawrence's stock shoots way up.
Yeah,
And I like to see that
another
Jacksonville
quarterback of
trying it
rhymes.
out. Yeah, but overall, 72 million to Christian Kirk.
That's a lot.
That's a lot,
That's a lot.
I'm not a fan of that. Like, I think you could have gone Christian Kirk for like 45.
Don't they still have Chark too?
No, so
Chark
that's
is gone.
another
he
deal I
got
wanted to
traded.
talk about.
Okay.
So Chark went to Detroit.
Yep.
And
That's
I
right.
love that
That's
move
right.
because the
Yeah,
fact
that's good
is
for him.
Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't take off until Josh Reynolds made it to Detroit and having that other outside guy. And obviously Quintez Cephas was hurt and all that, but having a more legitimate guy, I still think Chark is super good.
Yeah,
Having
I love
Chark there
and he's a
opposite of
big physical
Amon-Ra,
guy. Yeah.
Detroit's offense can be like they got some pieces that I really like.
Yeah, Detroit is going to be a lot better this year, in my opinion. But sticking with Jacksonville to finish it off before we move to the other Floridian team is Foye, the
That's right, they do
source
have
of my
Foye.
pain. On the same day as they signed everyone else, they got Foye. The NFL tackle leader from last year. I think he got a $40 million deal. Is that right?
Yes, it was like 40. It was a pretty big one.
Which he deserves. He's the best linebacker in the NFL last year.
Yeah, he
without
had an
a doubt.
incredible year last year.
And again, I've been huge on him since they picked him up in the 6th round. Way back, I think it was 2018, 2017. Is that right?
Yep, 2017, 2017.
I believe he's from Yale.
It's one of those places, but overall, like I think Jacksonville has made a lot of moves, and they are just shedding themselves of the sickness that is Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
and I think
speaking of sexual allegations, since the NFL this year.
No,
yeah, it is.
No,
the blonde in the bar.
It's terrible.
Listen, I don't know what the NFL's got to. I don't know. Wow. No wonder they left being under center.
But overall,
you guys are horrible.
I don't think these are the best deals though. No. Like, especially like with who was available. Like,
I mean, it's back to last year with what they did with Shaquille.
Odell or Kirk? Odell or Kirk. How do we like? Who would you take?
Kirk?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wait, OBJ or Christian?
Yeah, Kirk? OBJ or Christian Kirk.
I'm taking Christian Kirk.
I'd say, yeah, just because of age, Christian Kirk.
I still take Odell because he can be a bona fide 1 or a 2.
The only thing with Odell is he has now 2 surgically repaired knees, and I don't love that.
But this entire deal, another deal that we talk about, it's all based on potential. And I don't know if I seen it from Kirk. So I'm like, ooh, 72. Like, I don't think his play earned 72. So that's where, and going back and to see how many, it was 37 guaranteed. So that's basically $9 million a year, which isn't bad.
Right.
Which like that I would have done. Like I would have maybe done a fully guaranteed like 4 for 37, but 72 with all those like other like bonuses is like, I don't like that.
Yeah. Now I don't think he's going to hit all of those bonuses, so I think they're going to,
They'll save
it's
some
not the
money,
contract
probably.
isn't as bad as it looks, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
a bit of an over.
It will be interesting to see what happens, especially because it's a Doug Peterson offense now. Now
Yeah.
let's talk about
But
that
I
other.
love that. I love that Doug Peterson offense with these moves that they've made.
Yeah, they said no, we're signing people and using the cap, and that's what I do appreciate from Jacksonville. Is like, look, we still think Trevor Lawrence is the guy, so we're going to help him like he is the guy.
Yeah.
And having
And
that veteran presence too, I think
yeah,
is a huge thing.
they should just be thankful that he didn't get injured last year.
That is very true.
Like that's a win for them. Now that they've built up this O-line a little bit, get another piece in the draft, and all right, what are you going to do? We've given you the tools to succeed. You have a great coach that can mentor you. What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's talk about the other Floridian team because there's 3 signings that are very interesting when it
I only like one of them.
Yeah, there's only one I like. The Miami Dolphins have signed Cedric Wilson, Chase Edmonds, Teddy Bridgewater, and let's even bring on that Raheem Mostert signed.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they got Mostert.
And the only one I really want to bring up out of this is because with Cedric Wilson, especially, to me, that just shows more faith in Jalen Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have Jalen Waddle, Ryan,
which he
his stock is
from Alex.
Okay, again, that wasn't Ryan's fault.
Don't make that face, Ryan. Don't make that face.
Look, no, remember, because we said we're going to throw the deal out like this and see what happens, and he just took it. So it was a voluntary robbery.
So he does that to you, and then he comes back to me when I'm asking for Allen Robinson, and he wants me to give him Travis Etienne. Like we're living in the same world.
You wanted me to give up. Deebo.
I am not responsible for Alex. Okay. Yes. I am not responsible for Alex. Don't blame me because he tried to shaft you. Okay.
No, I blame you for shafting him.
I didn't. It was a good trade.
Oh my God. Shut up.
For one side, for sure.
Shut up.
Okay. So back to Teddy Bridgewater.
Wow.
I want to bring this
weird
deal
incentives.
up.
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh. Talk about it. The weird incentives.
Why?
Yeah.
Are there $3.5 million incentives to a backup quarterback? Backup. And I think that's the thing you should look at. I don't think Miami believes Tua is the guy. And especially the pain that he's essentially caused indirectly from Brian Flores to the whole allegations with that. And then on top of that, probably coaching differences where you're forcing Tua onto a bunch of coaches. I think that's why the incentives are there for Teddy Bridgewater to kind of fill in mid-season. Yeah. But that's not a good dynasty sign of encouragement for Tua.
Oh yeah, I'm afraid if I'm Miami.
Yeah. So if I'm afraid of because she has Tua.
And she also has Gaskin too.
So I'll break this down in our rants, but certain incentives can either go towards the cap for next year or against the cap this year. Or against the cap next year. So the incentives might just be there to help with cap space for next year. Because if he's only getting paid, the incentives are only $3.5 million. So that means he's only guaranteed 3. Is that correct?
I am double checking that. No, okay. It's a fully guaranteed deal.
So the 6.5 is fully guaranteed.
With an extra 3.5 in incentives.
With an extra 3.5. Okay. So that would change things around. So I think the same as you, Josh. I think that's a big question mark for Tua.
Sus.
Yeah, it's sus. Because I was thinking, if they're only paying him $3 million in guaranteed, then he's probably just there and there for backup. And
he's a warm body.
The incentives were just if he plays, he gets more money. So
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now according to Spot Rack. 4.5 million base salary, your signing bonus is 2. So that entire
Okay.
deal is
that
guaranteed
is, yep,
with 3.5 million in incentives. And
interesting.
I think that
Yeah.
Miami still believes they're a playoff team. So maybe it's a playoff incentive.
Which they are.
Which
They are. Agreed.
Well, we'll see because the AFC has 15 teams
Yeah, I was gonna
in
say
playoff contention.
Oh, fair. Yeah,
the
Miami is the
AFC.
worst of the bunch.
Honestly, you can't
Yeah.
count.
The
any-
AFC is hell. It's
Yeah,
quite
you
literally
can't
hell.
count any AFC team as
This is
like
murder's
a
row.
shoe in for the playoffs. I can't. I
No.
mean, my gosh, there's just so many X
Yeah,
factors.
I mean, like, can we talk about this really? Who's good in the NFC? The Rams and the Bucks?
Rams, Bucks.
It's not Green Bay. Who does
Yeah.
Green Bay have other than Aaron Rodgers?
Oh,
I mean, yeah, that's true.
It's not the Saints. The Saints
Niners?
just lost a bunch
I
of their
mean,
defense.
when
San
we're talking
Francisco?
about San Francisco.
Okay, San
maybe.
Francisco.
but you have the whole
Kinda.
Trey Lance question. Whereas,
Yeah.
Lance
all right,
season.
let's talk about the AFC for that matter. You have obviously the AFC West, literally the entire AFC West.
Yeah.
Colts,
my
Titans, and the South. In the East, you have probably Buffalo, New England,
God.
and then we'll see what happens with Jets and Dolphins. And then in the AFC North, all 4 teams are legitimate.
Yeah.
I've never seen a conference this stacked to where like there's going to be 5 teams from the AFC that if they just made the playoffs could have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is
And
where like the NFC East the NFC as a whole is super weak right now.
Yeah. And that's I think that's why Tom Brady came back. Part of the reason why he came back. He looked at
Yeah.
what-
Oh, yeah.
look
This
at
is
all
free
of the
real estate.
NFC teams, and
Yeah,
he's going,
exactly.
I have the Super Bowl for the next 2 years. Like,
Because, yeah, you can be Arizona. If you're Tom Brady, you can be Arizona.
You can
And
beat
you
the
can be-
Rams.
Yeah.
you
You
can
can,
beat- every team in the NFC is beatable.
and you can
They
beat
are.
San Francisco.
And it's not
Yeah.
like
Who else is
anyone
there?
and it's not like anyone in the NFC East is going to scare you either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
But literally like in the AFC, it's like first big injury dramatically shifts.
Oh, yeah. The
The
AFC is
playoff
going to come
picture.
down to injuries and only
Yeah,
injury.
it is. That's literally going to be war of attrition.
yeah.
And that's something like when it comes to I guess when it comes to fantasy, you
Yeah.
better look at the star and then the people around the star, because I think I'm still going to believe this. One major injury is just going to change everything to where like say for example Mike Williams goes down. Yeah, I could go after Josh Palmer or something like that going up, but then I might just look the completely other direction
Mhm.
and just go, well, but this team has I could just look at Hunter Renfrow or something like that, and it's
Yeah.
it
Well, and
it
here's my thing,
dramatically
like,
changes.
Yeah,
I
and-
feel so bad for Mac Jones because I see Mac Jones as the kind of guy who's going to make a major leap in year 2, and it's not going to matter
Yeah.
just because he's in the AFC.
Mhm.
Yeah, and because the
I-
thing this makes the division winner so important.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because you're a shoe in for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it's like. These division games are going to be gladiator
Gold.
fights.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be gold.
Every
And
game's
I
a
wanna
primetime
say-
game.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, you're not going to see many 12-plus win teams.
No. Yeah,
I
it's not
agree
going to
with
be like
that.
last
Barely.
year.
It's going to be.
It's going to be
fairly, like,
really
neck and
just
neck.
above 500. for
Literally,
everyone.
10 teams are going to be 10-7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I
And then there's going to be
AFC is
Tom
gonna
Brady in the
really close.
NFC who's going to be
At
like
15
16-1.
Yeah, exactly.
Split
But-
games with the Rams. Like,
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting this upcoming year. Like, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
yeah.
So,
very interesting. Now let's see. That's the next deal. Oh, guess what? It's the AFC West again. JC Jackson signs
Oh, yeah,
with the Chargers.
back
Oh,
to the RIP
man.
in New England.
He Yeah. I in our free agent talk like a couple weeks ago, I was saying that JC Jackson is going to get tagged
Yeah.
by the pay or by the
We all thought
Pats.
that.
Yeah, we all thought
this
that.
is
I mean, that's what
that's the
every
most Belichick thing to do, though, is to let him go. Like, that's what Belichick does. You're not going to be a team player. You're not going to be a professional. Get out. I don't need you. I'll do it again.
Needs, like, for his defensive scheme, he needs a lockdown corner.
But
he'll do it again.
JC Jackson. And
look,
they have the draft.
Belichick will do it again.
So here's
no doubt.
Here's my crazy theory. Is there someone in the draft Belichick's going for? And I think you can see New England trade up. It won't be for a quarterback, but it will be for like a defense.
It could be Stingley.
And that's why
it could be Petrie from Baylor.
And that's why I saw
Sauce McDuffie.
When I saw that he let Jackson go, I was like, okay,
he sees something.
Yeah,
Pats are doing something in the draft because they're not going to let Jackson go.
Oh my! The other cornerback, who is with Sauce. What's his name?
Kobe.
Yes, Kobe. That dude is a freak.
Yeah, Kobe. Well, what's crazy is you can get Kobe 4th, 5th round. Like he's in like the JC Jackson status of like low draft pick, and then hey, he's really, really good. Yeah, like corner's insane this year because there's a lot of people in the 4th round I really like. To where it's like, you could be a starter.
This is the draft that the Vikings needed. Because like our defense.
Yeah, literally. Like so, here's the funny thing about the draft is like O-line, defense. Literally, the entire defense is amazing. But there's a lot of good O-linemen this year. And I think with a lot of the really cool teams, this is what they needed. Like, this is the draft class. You don't need the 18 receivers that can go round 1. Like, you needed these O-linemen. So that's where I think the draft is going to dramatically shift our perspectives on a lot of fantasy players.
I really think so, too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this season is just going to be a big question mark. Like, no one knows what's going to happen.
Well, because it's going to change the foundations of the team. So, like with the Chargers, it's honestly, like for me, it's a big question mark for the Chargers because Herbert was having to throw for 5,000 yards.
Yeah, that was a requirement
to keep up with teams, and they still had a losing record. So now, with these defensive acquisitions that they've had with JC Jackson,
that does change like how many points he'll probably get.
Exactly. So honestly, I see him kind of lowering back down to maybe a 4,000 yard season, like he had his rookie year, but
maybe more touchdowns.
More touchdowns, but less yardage that he has to go because the defense isn't going to be struggling as much.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. Just this is a side note with Herbert, how wrong everyone was. Yeah. But that also goes to show you how important coaching is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's because I give all the kudos for the Charger staff going, hey, Oregon was using him completely wrong. We think he can do this. And them being so right about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they knew he could sling it, man. They said, all right, throw the ball.
He's got a head on his shoulders. He really does.
Like, he really
he's
does.
Such a good guy. I love watching interviews with Justin Herbert. Like he's funny, man. He's got a good head. He's smart.
He's a quiet leader.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
14. Like,
well, I mean, even still, like, even though he's so goofy, his team loves him.
Yeah,
and
he's got a lot of respect in that locker room.
He really his alignment are his biggest supporters.
Mm-hmm.
And you always have
that
great
right
chemistry.
there. Yeah, that right there. If you have chemistry with your O-line and they respect you, they're just going to try that much harder to keep you safe.
Yeah,
because they don't want to let you down.
Compare that to the Bengals, who Joe Burrow did all of this stuff for the Bengals alignment, and they still allowed him to get murdered.
Well, I think that's more of a talent thing, like
I don't know. There's still talent on the Bengals.
I know,
line. They weren't.
But
Ryan, there's a lot of talent to just let the guy go.
Yeah, but there's there's a lot more than just trying hard. You do have to have talent, and you do
Right.
have to be able to do your job.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You
Is
know,
like I don't
but
think they believed in Joe, and I
Mhm.
don't think they were that talented, and I don't think they cared at all.
I don't think they cared very much. And I think,
Like
with this
Prince was the
new,
worst tackle I've seen in a long time.
yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Since we're on this,
I raise you
let's go ahead and
Villanueva. Yeah, let's go
go
straight
ahead
to
and get into
Cincy.
that.
Let's go
Let's
straight
go
to
let's go to
Cincy.
Cincy.
So we're not going to go in
Oh
necessarily
no,
in exact.
but my favorite signing is next.
Yeah, we'll do it next. We'll do it next.
We'll do it next because we want to talk about Cincy said we see Joe Burrow dying every
Mhm.
single game. So what are we going to do? Lyle Collins, Alex Kappa, Ted Karras. Now, I like their O line way more, obviously. Lyle Collins is a legitimate tackle. Alex Kappa is a extremely good guard that no one talks about. Ted Karras is probably the weakest signing out of all of them. Still an upgrade, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, that leaves Jackson Carman and Jonah Williams. I don't know if since he's done yet. I think they got one. I think they'll go for a guard.
Yeah,
They're definitely
think
going to
they're
pick
in
somebody up in the draft.
Linderbaum territory.
I think it might be Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green at 31.
Well, I mean, they could trade up for Linderbaum though.
They could, but I think Linderbaum will have to hit 20. And I'll be honest with you. With the Ravens here, they have a need at center. I don't know what the Ravens are going to do. I don't want Linderbaum, to be honest with you. I'd rather the Ravens get J.C. Treader. But I think Cincy has the flexibility to just go BPA into the draft, which that's the way you do it. Fix your needs in free agency and then best player available in the draft.
Well, because I mean, if Nakobe Dean is sitting there at 31.
Oh, if Nakobe Dean's there at 31, you take
I don't know
it.
if I can pass that up if I'm Cincy. Not that
I
their
can't.
linebackers are bad, but I mean,
Or if Devontae Wyatt is there.
Yeah.
Because they lost didn't they have Ogunjobi?
Ogunjobi.
Him or I can't remember. I think they had Ogunjobi. But overall though, like they just cut Trey Waynes earlier. Like they could go corner. Who knows?
Yeah.
They could be Petrie at 31.
Yeah. Who knows? But now to my favorite signing, screwed Cincy. They're not going back to the Super Bowl because history repeats itself. First year or early young quarterbacks don't ever go back to the Super Bowl after they've been killed. Younghoe Koo back to Atlanta.
For the culture.
Look,
24.
Somebody bring that man back his Jeep with his football cleats. He's rich now.
Look, $24.5 million for a kicker, and probably the second best kicker in the league. Good on them.
Yeah, I love Younghoe Koo.
Yeah,
I'm a
Younghoe Koo. Yep,
and he's young too. It's in the name.
This is a Younghoe Koo stan account. Okay.
Yes,
we stand Younghoe Koo.
I like Younghoe Koo. He's young. He's very talented.
He does backflips after kicking field goals.
Yeah,
exactly. And I love to see the representation of Asian heritage in the NFL. I love it.
I mean,
very often we don't see it very much. I love it. So
I actually low-key, I really need to get a black Younghoe Koo jersey.
Yeah,
do it. Dude. Oh my gosh, that
I need to get that. So I really need to get that one.
But I mean, no, like, and I love Younghoe Koo. The team loves him. The ownership loves him. And like you said, like representation isn't ever a bad thing. Like when all the Asian hate stuff was going on, the biggest supporter was Younghoe Koo, and he did a lot of really good things for that movement.
Yeah,
exactly. And having having somebody that is of that heritage on your team, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great.
We stand diversity.
I wish
as well.
I know. I am all about diversity. I love it. So
Russell Gage got recruited by Tom Brady.
So I got lost there. I was like, because we still there's so many more.
Yeah, we still have more, everybody. Like I said, popcorn, send your wife to Target. There's more, baby. We're not done.
Russell Gage, Tampa Bay.
Right.
He basically takes
Drake said it back to back, baby.
He takes the Antonio Brown role.
Yeah, he definitely does.
But he's better than Antonio Brown, in my opinion.
3 years, 30 mil, 20 mil guaranteed. He has a low cap hit in 2022. Great signing. And he fills in as a really good number 2 while Chris Godwin recovers. And which by then, everything's going to be okay. I think it's a great deal.
I mean, if I'm Tyler, I love this because
Yes.
he's going to have 6 games of Russell Gage as Tom Brady's second favorite wide receiver.
Yeah.
At least 6, possibly 10. Who knows? Now,
well, it could be less than that. You know, it could only be like 4.
We'll see. It's just
5
the
games.
ACL tear was so late in the year. We'll see what
Yeah, it was
happens
week
there.
15. Like he's probably had surgery. I'd be curious to know where he's at.
Yeah.
In his recovery timeline.
If one of y'all want to look that up, go for it.
Yeah, I'll pop over it while you guys are still
Yeah.
talking.
And then I want to talk about the other trade here, since the two linemen are going to be talking about this. Shaq Mason got traded for a 5th-round pick.
Yeah. See, that's it's a low pick, but
Shaq Mason's good though. Like that's a steal. That's a legitimate steal.
And I don't know what his like cap hit would be, or why New England let him go for so much or so little. So.
I wonder if New England's just doing a reboot. It's like, look, we have our guy. We know
they might be,
but they're still dealing with all the stuff, all the times they sold out for Brady.
Yeah. And they may just see somebody in the draft.
Could
again,
be
like they do.
They could legitimately get a guard.
And just go, hey, we're gonna solidify this offensive line with some young talent.
And Tampa Bay really needed this though, because they lost Ali Marpet, he retired, and then their other guard just signed with the Bengals.
So, what's been said? This is from the Bucks Wire. All they really know right now, and this is as of March 21st, so yesterday and this morning, is that he's doing good, that he's in rehab, and he's just taking it.
If he's in rehab, the surgery already happened, so that's good.
Yeah. He's recovering, and he's feeling confident for the season. Is all that's been said.
Yeah, he's probably not going to. He could be back by week. He might be on the pup list, to be honest with you. I think they may just play it safe.
I could see him as a week 4, week 5 returner, maybe sooner than that.
Short-term IR, possibly.
Yeah, short-term IR, probably.
Yeah, so let's talk about another receiver here. Julio Jones released by the Titans. Is this the end of Julio Jones?
Dead. Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, I think he might be. I think he may get the Des Bryant treatment where someone signs him late in the year, but I think as of right now,
the
Ravens legitimately could. I wouldn't hate it, to be honest with you, because they're really missing a jump ball guy, and I know Julio Jones could still do that. Yeah. And I think you can buy low on him. Like, honestly, if I'm Chicago, I'm kind of looking at Julio, to be honest with you. But I think in Julio's situation, he doesn't have to sign till July. He doesn't need to sign right now. So I think it's okay if nothing shows up, because I think a lot of people just want to wait till the draft happens and see and go from there.
I'm excited to see what Atlanta does with that 2nd-round pick this year that they got from the Titans.
Coral.
What they turn that into. Yeah, I mean, if they turn it into Matt Corral and that's the future of the Atlanta franchise, that may be the greatest trade that Atlanta's ever done. More impressive than when they traded to get Julio.
Yes.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Now, let's talk about. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna flip it here.
If we're going to this next one, I want to lead off on this next one.
Okay, lead off on it.
Go ahead.
So my intro for this next one is Von Miller the Super Bowl maker? Is Von Miller going to bring a Super Bowl to Buffalo?
No. I'll just straight up answer it.
Face and everything. Straight face and everything. Okay, tell us why.
Here's the biggest issue. They have a bigger issue right now at corner. And I would even say maybe even safety. And I think this helps you get sacks, but I think sack numbers get slightly inflated when you're playing with the best defensive tackle of the last 50 years.
Yeah.
And I think Von Miller is good. I don't know if he's worth $51 million guaranteed good.
Now, and here's my thing too. I don't know.
Wild.
I don't know if Aaron Donald inflated his numbers though, because he was having a good year in Denver before he got traded.
Well, I think he inflated it a little bit. Like, I think it's not too crazy. But the thing is, I don't know if he's worth $51 million guaranteed and $120 million right now. I think the deal is heavily
it's a little intense.
Yeah, like that's where it's.
But it's because they won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah,
That's why. That's
Yeah,
why they're.
well, it's like the Malcolm Smith signing.
But I'm
after
also
the
I'm also
Seahawks won the
trying
Super
to
Bowl,
think
he was
of
MVP.
I'm just trying to think of like that defense, and that's a weird fit. That's why I'm confused.
Yeah.
Because he's usually a 3-4 edge, but they're more 4-3, and they already have Rousseau
I mean,
on one
they can
side,
put
unless
him
he's
down.
replacing Jerry Hughes, which that's very possible.
I mean, they can put him in a 3-point stance, you know.
But that's also not Von Miller's strength, though. Unless that's what they're saying he's all good for. But in that case, why are you giving him 51 mil? So it's a little awkward, but Buffalo had to make this move, especially with what happened to them last year. So I don't fault them for making the move.
Yeah.
I actually no, I stand corrected. I do fault them because Zadarius Smith would be a Raven if this deal never happened.
Yeah, fair enough. But instead, he's a Viking. Boom!
Yeah,
this morning, Zadarius Smith gets signed to the Vikings.
I don't have the
Josh
details
can
on that.
suck it.
I don't have the details on it, but yes, Zadarius Smith is a Viking officially.
I believe it's 40-something mil, 3 or 40 mil.
If it's just that much, I'm gonna be like super upset. I'm about to
see if I can pull up the Shefty tweet. Chef.
I am so glad. So glad.
Yep, here's the deal for Zadarius Smith. 3-year base value 42 million, worth up to 47 million in incentives.
Yes. Love it.
It was just more money. I think the Ravens would have been more willing, but apparently reports were saying that he gave a verbal yes to the deal, and then the Von Miller deal came out, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, there were similar
that's why
deals
I'm
between
upset
the
about
Ravens and him, weren't they?
What happened?
Wasn't the Ravens deal pretty similar, about 40-something mil?
It could go up to 50 mil, but 37 guaranteed.
It's so a little bit less of a guarantee.
Yeah, a little bit less on the guarantee. It's a super team friendly deal, and I think Zadarius Smith thought he could get more, but after seeing
he did a little bit more.
After seeing that Von Miller deal, though, like that was low key. Like the agent could have been fired because the Ravens. I was looking at it, I was like, wow, this is a great deal. It was too good to be true. Yeah. But that really, I don't think. But going back to Von Miller, because he was one of our top free agents, this does help Buffalo a lot. Still, it's just seeing the fit is a little questionable.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see how they work him. Are they going to put him in a 3-point? Are they going to send him off the edge? Are they going to kind of have like still have their 4-3, but just have him a little bit wider in a 2-point stance, like outside of the tackle? I don't know. We're gonna all find out together.
Yeah, we will all find out together. But let's all celebrate first that Allen Robinson finally has a legitimate quarterback to play with.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Signs a 3-year, $46.5 million contract, 30 mil guaranteed. Thank goodness the Rams picked him up.
OBJ is mad.
So I don't know why they just don't sign Odell. Because imagine your top 3 being Odell, Allen Robinson,
and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah. You know how insane honestly, that would be?
I think Cooper Kupp is going to regress heavily this season.
He will. I think he will.
I think, yeah. I mean, when you get a deal back, when you get a season like that, you will regress. But I also still think 80% of that season is right around where Cooper Kupp's going to be. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I still think so. Here's where I think Allen Robinson is definitely taking over the Robert Woods role.
Well, I think he's going to be more involved than Robert Woods was with Kupp.
Possibly.
I think so too.
Which is why I think Cooper Kupp's going to regress more than 80% of last season.
I can see that.
That's just my take. I understand where you're coming from too, of like, oh, like we're going to get 80% of that this year and he's going to be phenomenal. Like I could see that happening too. I just don't believe it. I see injuries incoming. I see less usage incoming. I just, I'm a skeptic.
But this is where I'm also like, just sign Odell. Like, just sign him. Make it a
Yeah.
3-headed monster to where you have to be respected. You better make sure you have the best secondary in the league.
Because who else is gonna take a chance on Odell at
Exactly.
this current moment?
And,
Yeah, 'cause
Odell
he's
has
gonna
already
be-
said, I will do a hometown discount,
Yeah.
a home
Yeah.
team discount, or whatever it's called for the Rams. And if you're telling me I could put Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, and Odell on the field at the same time, by all means, go for it. Because if
Yeah.
we're really going to put it this way, do you want Odell or Van Jefferson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Exactly. So
That's
that's what. So I think that one's coming up soon. But Allen Robinson, he had to deal with Bortles. He had to deal with Trubisky, under Nagy.
Good God.
Let
Justin
this man
Fields.
let this man have a career year.
It's like the meme where the dude's just getting jumped by like 6 guys, and somebody just jumps in the middle and is like, "Oh, okay, let him up, let him up, let him up,"
Exactly.
and then just go back to just pile driving him. You know?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think from the Rams, considering I say funny enough here, it was Rams Bears week 1 last year. I think they saw that Allen Robinson was just getting either schemed out or just not seen.
Yeah.
And they went, oh no, he still has it. So let's pay him like he still
Now
has it.
watch.
Exactly. And then we all get the crap on Matt Nagy afterwards.
Speaking of watch, the free agency period opened up with a franchise tag, and we all hated it. We hated that Devontae Adams got franchise tagged by the Green Bay Packers, but he has been set free to an AFC West team.
Again.
Devontae Adams traded to the Raiders
For the
Yep,
23rd overall and the 53rd
Yep.
overall.
Yep.
And this, if JC Jackson or Khalil Mack didn't just say, oh, hey, or Russell Wilson, put the AFC West on notice, this move put the AFC West and the AFC in general on notice.
Yep.
One, Derek Carr's stock shoots way up. I would say he's going to be a QB1 this year, to be honest with you.
Hunter Renfrow way down.
Renfrow way down, though I still think he gets a lot of targets. I don't think
I think it's going to be Adams and Waller. I think they're going to go off this year.
Yeah, but I think Hunter Renfrow still gets a lot of targets. I don't think he'll get the touchdowns.
Yeah. I still love Josh Jacobs, though. If you have Josh Jacobs, I'm still not upset about this.
No, not upset at all about Josh Jacobs. And even
I like this. It's a good trade. It's a really good trade for them.
Yeah.
And this is where Aaron Rodgers punches air. Because it's the Will Smith meme of just like, where's everybody?
Yeah.
So now,
I mean, they're in play for a wide receiver now.
They have to be.
Green Bay is picking up a wide receiver.
Like you can get Olave, you can get. Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this.
Maybe Treylon
Burks if he's down there. I'm just trying to see as far as receivers.
God, I hope they don't go after Sky.
That would be a Green Bay move to go after Sky. Jameson Williams, but Jameson Williams is coming off a torn ACL, so that wouldn't be useful.
What about Dotson?
Dotson, I wouldn't do first round.
I like him, but not in the first round. Not at that point.
Like Dotson, Pickens, Tolbert, Justin Ross are all
maybe a Pickens reach.
I could see Pickens because Pickens is freakish.
Yeah, I really like him.
Yeah, but I could definitely see Treylon Burks in this situation. But
basically, this is all to say they have a lot of options.
They have a lot of options.
They just need to do their due.
The 23rd and let me double check real
20
quick.
Something.
They have my bad. They have the 22nd and the 28th.
Yeah.
So I wrote it wrong like an idiot. So they could trade up if they want to go for a bigger guy like a Garrett Wilson or a Drake London, or you just stand pat and take 2 receivers.
Yeah, I mean at 28 they can take Pickens, and I don't think anyone would.
But I would say I would not be surprised about O-line in this situation because they're going to have to find a way to pay Elton Jacobs or get rid of Bakhtiari. So, but overall, the final. Here's the thing: Aaron Rodgers has been asking for help for a long time. It just only took them trading the best receiver in the league to get that help.
But and now, if we're going to look at it for the Raiders, Derek Carr going up, Renfro, I think he's kind of there when Ruggs was there. It's kind of debated like that. Waller, you're playing as a bounce back year.
Yeah,
But-
well, I mean that's Vegas, and hopefully they're set up for the
Yeah,
future. What do you think?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Another receiver. DJ Moore gets extended. 3 years, $61 million, $41 million guaranteed. This man just needs a quarterback. Does this mean there's a quarterback on the way? And why is his name Kenny Pickett? So this is kind of the discussion I wanted to bring up here. Is that because of how crazy the draft has gone, and because we'll talk about Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland like literally right after this.
Yeah. So what do you think, Ryan, about Pickett at 6? What are your thoughts on that?
Sorry, I was having some audio issues. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't really kept up with a lot of like this upcoming draft. I have not really been keeping up with it. I've heard a lot of good things about Pickett. You said at 6?
Yeah, that's when Carolina's at.
Shoot, Carolina. Yeah. I think he could pull it off. He's got a decent team around him. I think DJ Moore would really benefit from having a solid QB there, but he may have to develop a little more. So before he becomes a real, I guess, asset.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're just so desperate at this point.
They'll take anybody.
I don't know. I do like Kenny Pickett. I think he's going to prove a lot of the haters wrong. But yeah, I don't know about that situation in Carolina,
Yeah.
So I think that's just a big wait and see. I love DJ Moore getting re-signed. I think that's great for the team. I don't think that's a deal that kills them.
Yeah. DJ Moore is a great signing for them.
Yeah, they needed that. So hopefully there's a quarterback on the way.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and he desperately needs it. He really struggled last year, at least when CMC went down. They didn't have that run threat, so they keyed off of DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And he was smothered. He didn't do very well after that. I mean, neither did Sam Darnold. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
Oh no.
His
But
son.
I want to bring this up because this is where, especially when it comes to fantasy, if you're one of the later teams, you're probably trading top 5 to get into the top 5 to get Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
you have to
Willis
talk
is
to
the
the
other
Giants.
You have to talk
You
to
have
the
to
Giants.
go through the Giants.
The Giants hold the draft at this point.
Yeah.
And since the Giants have 7, we'll see what happens, what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean they can go
The
O-line, they
Giants-
can go D-line.
The Giants have pick 5.
They have 5 and 7.
Oh, and
Yeah.
7. Okay, gotcha.
The Giants are like that drunk uncle that like show up to the party and you just don't know what they're gonna do. Like they're kind of stumbling all over the place. They're not really in control of what they're doing, and they don't really know the amount of space that they're taking up. But I mean, it's a good time. Like
But-
at least it's entertaining.
But they're the first pick if you want to play cornhole.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you want to play cornhole, you're going to the Giants.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
exactly.
You have to get past the whiskey breath, but hey,
God.
Hey,
a good time.
Do you want to win the family reunion?
do you want to win the family reunion?
And
I don't think
speaking,
you win the family reunion.
yeah. So
Everybody loses
I
the
don't
game.
want to win the family reunion.
I'm tired of family reunions.
I'm sick and tired of this, Grandpa. Yeah.
Well, that's two.
Deshaun Watson. Deshaun
Yes,
Watson.
okay,
Let's
Deshaun
talk about
Watson.
him.
So this is the last big trade that we want to talk about because
Yeah.
there is a lot of context that kind of needs to get surrounded. We're not going to say our piece on whether good, bad, whatever.
Right, wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to
All
at
right.
least explain to you why it happened the way it did.
Yes.
So
So
let's
why don't I go through that? You have the statement from the Browns pulled up.
Yes, I
Josh?
do. Yes.
So here's the context for everyone. So before this last NFL season started, there were reports and civil cases filed against Deshaun Watson in the Houston area. Now we don't know what happened in those sessions. We don't know what was going on, behind closed doors, because the legal case that was going on was kind of hush hush. I mean, it was really private. It was primarily handled just between the lawyer. So there was essentially one lawyer for Deshaun Watson and one who was handling all 22 of the cases brought against him. So we don't know what happened between them two, but the case was eventually brought before a grand jury to decide whether or not criminal charges would be filed or not. That was last week. And essentially what happened was a grand jury decided that there would be no criminal charges filed because there was not enough evidence. So once again, right, wrong, that's not really for us to decide. But there are
there's
things
still
that we
civil
don't know.
cases.
There are things that we don't know. Again, right or wrong, whether he did or didn't do, we don't know. We probably will never know. But I will say the jury probably knows more than us, and they decided to acquit him.
Yeah. And we're not really going to go any deeper into that just because
that's just a situation.
We're not picking sides. We're just here to report. We're just here to
talk about fantasy football.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about the fantasy side of all of this. And
so Ryan, talk about that. What's the fantasy implication of Deshaun Watson to Cleveland with Amari?
Everyone, all of the Amari Cooper owners that went and were panic trading him away and all of that, when they heard about this trade, probably went and canceled all those trades because Amari Cooper's stock just went up. Because right now, at least the current state of Cleveland, he is the only wide receiver there that is worth his salt.
Other than Njoku, but
Njoku, yeah. And I think Njoku,
DPJ, maybe.
Njoku and DPJ, yeah. DPJ and them.
Which I'm a DPJ stasher, so I'm...
I would be stashing
He
DPJ.
did well. Yeah, he did well whenever Landry was out and OBJ was traded. So I think both him and Cooper are big pickups this year if they were dropped. So
the other thing, we can bring up the trade real quick. Here is what Cleveland gave up.
About the trade.
Cleveland receives Deshaun Watson and a 2024 6th-round pick. And then Houston receives 13 overall, a 2022 4th round, that I could not find which pick exactly that was, but it's a 4th round pick. 2023 first, 2023 third, 2024 first, and a 2024 4th. So 6 picks. So basically 6 picks for Deshaun Watson.
And 3 of those are firsts. And they gave the
which
farm
is huge.
for him.
They really did.
They really did. They gave
I
the
think
farm
it could
for
have been
him,
worse.
but
I think that's pretty, tame.
I'm surprised
been worse,
they didn't ask
honestly,
for more players, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't ask for a player.
Yeah, throw in Dearness Johnson.
They're going for a rebuild.
Houston is. Not Cleveland.
No, not Cleveland. Houston is going for a rebuild. That's why they didn't ask for any players. They want picks.
So I wonder what the play at 13 is then.
So I have a feeling the play at 13 for Houston is best player available. Because if you really think about it, like what we talked about last time, you might have to trade top 5 to get a quarterback. So there's really only 2 quarterbacks that we know. So that means 2 players, at least 2 good players, are falling. Yeah. And if your top 15 board doesn't have a quarterback, but it has 15 players that you would love to take at 13, there's a guarantee that one of them will be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could be a draft where they get Hamilton and Sauce. Or even McDuffie, and I think that's a win for the Texans.
And and after losing Justin Reed as well, like that.
Yeah, that'd be huge for them.
Honestly, like any pickup, there's holes on every front that they have.
Yeah. If you look at PFF, it says needs every position for Houston.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I think this was good for them in the long run. Yeah, you lose, a great quarterback on your team, but you have Davis Mills who was solid the last couple of weeks of the season. But I think this was a good trade for them because Deshaun, for one, wanted out. Obviously, like he didn't want to.
Like the fact that you're able to get something.
Yeah. I don't know. One thing to notice, I guess, is they do need a wide receiver as well. So I don't know if that's a play for Jarvis Landry, or if maybe they want to take a shot at the first wide receiver at 13.
Yeah, Drake London, Garrett Wilson potentially, but that helps Davis Mills. And they drafted Nico Collins last year, and they still have Cooks.
I think it really starts with Atlanta at 8 is where things are going to get mixy. Because are Atlanta going to go wide receiver? Are they going to take Drake London? And
are they
going to go Malik Willis and it's time for the future? Yeah. Are they going to go, I kind of hope they do on defense, cool. Whether that's Walker, whether that's one of the corners, whether Hamilton falls, whether they take the early shot on Karlaftis, whether Thibodeau falls. Like the draft starts at 8.
I would agree with that.
8 or 9.
Now, what I do want to bring up here is another interesting part. And I want to kind of go back to the Cleveland side and why this happened. So not only was Deshaun Watson traded, but Deshaun Watson is now signing a 5-year, $230 million deal that's fully guaranteed.
However, why he chose the Browns over Atlanta.
Yeah, that's probably why he chose the Browns over New Orleans, over Atlanta.
Greed.
It was literally, hey, I can get $50 million more. Yeah, let me sign that. But there is a giant caveat in this contract, which will impact fantasy for this year. His base salary for 2022 is only $1 million, which means when it comes to if you're getting suspended, you make your cap hit that on the year that you're suspended really low, so you keep the most amount of your money later on, which is what Tom Brady did in 2016. So that's kind of the blueprint. Basically, by that having a 1 million cap hit, that basically to me confirms that the NFL will most likely suspend him. I don't know for how long yet. We'll, depending on past suspensions.
For as many games as he does play, he's going to be a top 5 QB.
Exactly.
So whenever he comes back, he will be a top 5 quarterback, whether that's reflected in overall
dynasty and
points or
keeper hold, but temper your expectations on everyone in Cleveland. Just temper all your expectations. Like Nick Chubb, probably not, maybe a low end running back 1, but probably closer to running back 2. And Njoku, we'll see what happens, but that offense may be a little bit rough. They signed Jacoby Brissett, which also basically confirms that Baker's gone, and they will find a way to get rid of Baker.
Yeah, in my mind, he's going to Seattle.
I think Seattle. We just saw a report that the Panthers are not interested in Baker Mayfield. So it's that for Panthers. It's Jimmy G or Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And for
I
Baker,
think they're picking somebody up in the draft.
Like there's no other team that's going QB other than Seattle.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of another team that would like go for it.
There's nobody.
I don't know.
And that's Washington double.
All the needs are met.
So here's the thing: we talked about how bad the Washington deal is. I can see the double dip happen.
Yeah.
Because all right, Baker or Wentz?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, neither. That's like
neither. But so, like, who else is in such a bad position? Because Atlanta's probably not, because they got Mariota.
No. Yeah, they're fine with Mariota and say either this is going to be a bridge or Matt Ryan wasn't going to win very many other games other than him.
It's 100% a bridge.
Yeah, they only signed him for 2 years. That's not a long year like confidence deal.
And that's the familiarity with the offense. It's so he can help train someone. I think the pick is Willis at 8. Like I think that's a guarantee.
So too.
It's either Willis at 8 or Coral in the second round.
Yeah, Mariota is there to teach the offense.
Yeah, he is. He is. I really think that he's there to kind of put the next next quarterback under his wing.
I do think that Mariota can win football games though. Now, I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I don't think it's going to be like 10 wins, but I think he can pull off 7.
He
Yeah.
could. He's a decent quarterback, honestly.
Like,
I mean,
yeah, let me pull up their schedule for next
he's
year.
all right.
I'm
And
really
with
trying.
with a
I'm
team
really trying
around
to
him,
think
he
of.
could do it.
I'm really trying to think of who is available, like who would take Baker on. And
So,
it might
all
be
right,
nobody.
here's
Yeah.
Atlanta's schedule for next year. So they is this week 1 or is this preseason? Okay, this is week 1. Week 1 they open up with the Commanders. After that, they do their first round of divisional game. Oh, okay. So these dates are still to be decided. So this is just who they're playing, not
Yeah.
the schedule. So they have Commanders, they have the Panthers, Saints, Bucks, Cardinals, 49ers, Browns, Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, Rams, Seahawks, Chargers, and Bears.
It's a pretty solid lineup.
Yeah, so like I said, probably 6 or 7 wins. Like they can probably beat the Bears. They can probably beat Seattle.
Yeah.
They can probably beat Carolina twice. Maybe the Saints. I don't know. They can probably beat Steelers if not, and then maybe
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can.
But
And they should be able to beat Washington too. So
And I think
Yes.
the Saints just signed Jameis Winston.
yeah, they do.
yeah,
for
Saints
2
signed
years.
Jameis Winston. So like literally, if going back to Cleveland, where on earth are you putting Baker? And he
Yeah.
may legitimately have to get cut if that damage is
That'd
done.
be such a big.
That
That'd be a 20-some mil cap hit, wouldn't it?
exactly.
Just dead money.
And what's
Oh.
what's crazier is that he may be stuck as a backup too, because
Yeah.
if Deshaun Watson is suspended, so you're stuck there.
And I
And
mean, I
because-
think Atlanta could be in a play for Baker too if they do cut him.
I could see it. I could also see Houston, like say if Davis Mills gets hurt, and that's the
Oh, yeah. I
emergency.
could see Houston.
But I think it's whoever gets hurt first, it will go for Baker. And I still think like Baker has something left to where I think he can be developed.
I'd like to see him play when he's not injured.
Yeah, not injured or like, but he definitely has to like find a different change of scenery for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He needs a new
But
system.
but that kind of goes into the whole thing of also, let's bring this up. Cleveland was looking for a new quarterback regardless.
Yeah.
And
And
in this league, you have to get a quarterback, which is why they made the deal. And which is why I mean, let's bring up the statement. Basically, there's a long statement from the owners of the Browns talking about this deal. And it's like, we are acutely aware and empathetic to the highly personal sentiments expressed about this decision. Our team's comprehensive evaluation process was of utmost importance due to the sensitive nature of this situation. So let's see. We spent a tremendous amount of time exploring and investigating the opportunity to trade for Deshaun Watson. So here's where this gets weird. If you spent a huge amount of time, that means you've been out on Baker for a while.
yeah.
And so
Which
that
tracks.
I can see why Baker's pissed. But now because of that, they're in desperation mode because they know how good the roster is and they've won with Baker already. And because of the arms race that kind of happened within the AFC West and the AFC in general, that's why the $230 million fully guaranteed deal comes into play. So even with all the other stuff, the league is still a quarterback league. So you have to find your quarterback. This is a clear and obvious upgrade on the field. And so with that, that's why this deal ended up the way it did. Now,
Yeah.
everything remains to be seen. We don't know all the other details, but as of right now, we are expecting Deshaun Watson to be suspended. Don't know how long, but when it comes to fantasy,
It's going to be like 2 games, dude.
if it's 2 games, you're going to have an uproar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something where we'll see what happens. We're still kind of learning it with everyone else.
And see, I just don't quite understand that. If he was acquitted of or not acquitted, but not found any
Not criminally
charges.
charged.
Yeah, not criminally. So basically,
And Like they'd be
NFL is-
punishing him.
But that's still conduct violations.
Yeah,
It is,
The NFL
You know.
still will suspend you if you
But being
damage the image of the shield. So that's
Yeah.
why
and
that's why
and
that's still in play.
damaging the image. But
Yeah.
I get that. But if you're accused of something and found that you were not guilty of it, or
Well, there's
and
not.
that's still
Well, that's where the
just
legal
because there wasn't
interpretation
evidence
is.
doesn't mean he's not guilty, and I
Yeah.
get that. But just because there were accusations against you doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. And that's
Also very
my
true.
issue. That's my issue, that with like they didn't find anything
But no
criminal.
matter what, it's because of the brand.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no
it's
matter
because
what.
of or not, he didn't ruin it. He
It's been ruined for years. Let's be honest.
defaced the brand. And that's what
it started with Kaepernick. It continued with AP
Yeah.
and
A bunch of others.
Hunt
a bunch of
and
others.
Ray Rice.
Ray Rice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
So-
ruined for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that. And there, people make mistakes, obviously. And
Right.
this is
Not
something,
everyone's
if everything that was claimed happened,
Then
and there was evidence against, I am totally behind them punishing him and him going to jail for what he did. But it's just,
I don't know.
it
I
rubs
guess,
me the wrong way when you're punished for something that you really might not have done.
No, yeah,
And
I understand that.
and it's
But,
like,
and here,
okay.
but here's the other perspective. If I'm the NFL and we're on this large diversity push and we're
Yeah.
trying to be more inclusive of women in the NFL, what kind of a message does this send to them, including more women?
It's a very,
Of course,
yeah. That's where
it's a
very
slippery
icky
slope. Yeah.
Because
And
I'm
I
all
get
for it.
that.
I mean, I was just talking about this with a good friend of mine, but one of the women that I really look up to in the NFL, I can't for the life of me remember her name, so I apologize for that. But she works for the Atlanta Falcons, and she started as a very low end cap analyst and moved her way all the way up in the organization, and she's just absolutely killing it right now, and more of a director position as a cap analyst for the Falcons. And she did a whole interview and came out with all these statements and all this super empowering, you can do it, you can work hard, the opportunity's there. And that's just not for me as a woman, but for anyone. And so with messages being sent like that and more women realizing, okay, I can do this. And because you have the coach for the 49ers too, and she's a woman and killing it in California with the 49ers.
We've had multiple
You know,
women who are coaches as well.
yeah, and referees now too. But what kind of a message is this sending to them that they're not going to be protected? And the whole thing with the Dallas Cowboys and their cheerleaders.
Exactly. That's a whole nother.
I get that. I get that.
And that's where that I think it does have to be considered.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just unfortunate we're not going to know those details
Right.
at the moment, but it does it. We wanted to, as a podcast, we wanted to explain all of the context to explain the
Of
details.
course.
And so we want to acknowledge that we're not sidestepping or avoiding certain topics. We're going to tell you exactly why it happened the way it happened, and then
And what we know.
exactly happened.
What we know.
Yeah, what we know.
exactly.
And what we know. And honestly, a lot of what we have is subjective, and it's knowledge that we have come by word of mouth. And honestly,
take it with a
we're
grain of
just
salt.
we're just trying to get that information out there.
Exactly.
And
Because
we're not taking sides on anything.
and no matter what, this will impact fantasy next year.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson will be suspended, but when he's not suspended, he will be a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
If you
Easily.
want to try and get him, make that decision for yourself. It might be difficult.
Yep.
It may take
I don't even know what kind of value he would have. Surely not a
Yeah.
first round pick. But
Well, I mean, and this
I
is
don't
not
know.
the first scandal in the NFL that has anything to do with this. I mean, look at Roethlisberger.
yeah,
I mean, he was accused of pretty much the same thing, and he
nothing
came back.
ended up happening.
No.
to him, really.
Nothing ended up happening to him. I mean, yeah.
Do your research on that. Come to your own decision on that.
exactly.
We won't say anything more about
Yeah,
Big
no, we're
Ben.
not going to say anything else.
Yeah,
Next
wise
signing.
words. Juju
signing,
Smith
Juju.
to Kansas City, and I'll be honest.
Speaking
This
of that,
is a sneaky good addition because
I think this is great depth.
I like it. I don't really like that he only signed a 1 year.
It's a proven deal. There's $7.5 million in incentives. To me, I'm happy about this deal, not for Juju. I am happy about this deal for Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce having another solid presence there.
Yeah.
Because they really felt the loss of Sammy Watkins as the receiver, as wide receiver too. And I think having someone who is established like Juju, this is a perfect addition.
It is.
Well, and with them losing Pringle, with them losing Demarcus Robinson, they needed to get another solid football player in there.
Yeah.
And they were not in position in the draft to get somebody.
No, they weren't going to get a top flight receiver. I mean, you could have gone for a Dotson and Reach at 30, but you weren't going to get a top flight guy. This at least gives you best player available in this sense. Let's just say the weapon returns to Atlanta. Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, second to last one.
Second to last.
Yeah.
Cordero Patterson, 2 years. Thank goodness I don't have to watch Mike
F
Davis.
the money.
Year.
The money. That was his response on Twitter. I loved it, man. I'm a big Cordero Patterson fan.
I just love how Atlanta uses him, and I think that's going to be really fun. Now let's just hope they find more ways to use him.
The one problem that I have is they need to use him, but they need to use him less.
Yes.
Than what he was used last year, because he was great for the first half of the season, and then his age started to show, and he wasn't producing as much as he should have in the later part of the season, and he kind of took a downhill turn, and I think it was just because of wear and tear on him. So use him, utilize him, but don't overutilize him, because he's going to retire before the end of this.
This is the point where Atlanta needs to make a move on Landry. They need to make a move on
Odell,
wide
for
receiver.
that matter.
Yeah, Odell maybe.
They
maybe not Odell as much as Landry, but they need to shoot
Landry.
for Landry.
They need to shoot for Landry.
They need to go for Landry.
Willis. They just need receivers, because right now I think it's just Zacchaeus.
Yeah.
Literally just
it's OZ
and Pitts.
Patterson and Pitts.
And Pitts. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make Pat Ricard the last one. Let's talk about Leonard Fournette. Don't know the details. Just happened today. Leonard Fournette signs a 3-year deal with Tampa Bay. It's the Tom Brady effect.
Yep.
Really good signing. I love it. He took over the running back role last year, and it's kind of just
he'll be starter week 1.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if Rojo comes back.
He freaked me out because, I have the New England backfield. I have both of their running backs, and he took a visit over to New England, and I about freaked out. I was like, no, don't do it.
No, please.
So when he re-signed with Tampa Bay, I was like praise Jesus, because I'm like, yeah,
he did his
I finally have my I finally have my running backs back. Awesome. So
so that's a great move.
That's free agency. We made it.
That's free agency.
Hold on, really quickly. Anyone that's still here at this point, I commend you. You are a trooper. I mean, this was a lot. I mean, I feel like it was really entertaining, and thank you for sticking through and munching on your popcorn. I mean, I feel like a lot of what we said in our last episode about people who are important, was really key when you look at these free agency signings. I mean, obviously, we thought JC was going to be re-signed. We thought Vaughn was going to be re-signed.
Thought Mike Williams was going to leave.
But other than that, I mean, our predictions were kind of right for everybody else.
For the most part, it was pretty good.
And our guys were the important ones. Now, obviously, Calvin Ridley got suspended, and that sucks. But I mean, Juju is huge. OBJ is huge. Allen Robinson has been huge. That was my sleeper pick, was Allen Robinson. I didn't think he was going to go to the Rams. That shocked me. But I knew he was going to be important to somebody.
And then let's not forget all the major trades: Devontae Adams, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson.
Well, I mean, if you're going to sit there and tell me you predicted any of these trades, you're a liar. You don't know anything. you probably like Kansas City because of Patrick Mahomes and have been saying you're a Kansas City fan for the last 20 years. You're a liar. Everyone knows you're a liar. It's okay. It's football. That's the joy of being a fan.
Honestly, the only thing that I didn't predict, but I could see coming was the Broncos trading for.
Yeah. We didn't know which quarterback it was going to be.
Yeah, we were bigger on Rodgers.
Yeah, it was Rodgers, and then when he signed, it was like, okay, there's really only one other major.
It's Russell.
I don't want to say we were bigger on Rodgers because I took a whole segment of time to be like, Rodgers is a freaking lying drama queen, and he's probably going to end up re-signing. So we were kind of right. We just didn't know what it was going to be. We were honestly, it was Josh with the better call because he's like, Seattle is saying they're not going to trade Russ. That's really suspicious. He's probably going to go to the Broncos, you know?
Yeah, it was just intuition that you like, and reading through the tea leaves of how just that relationship just deteriorated over time. So that's where, especially as dynasty managers, you have to look through the tea leaves and then make moves literally based on those, because that really does impact fantasy. Like 2 weeks ago, if I had Jerry Jeudy, I'm not excited. But now with Russell Wilson, I'm very excited. And then
you're hopeful.
Receiver. Exactly.
And I mean, like in terms of us and our experience with fantasy, I mean, Ryan here, he's a multi-time champion. Even though the last 2 years are BS, he's still a multi-year champion.
Last 2 years?
Yeah, the last 2 years
I
BS.
I won fair and square last year.
Yeah, by putting 2 championships back to back in the last week of the NFL. Good job, buddy. And then,
dude, that's how it's always been for our league. So we recently changed that.
Josh here, on the other hand, you know, knows a lot about football. You know, he's a college football player. You know, like he knows a lot about football and scheme. And you're kind of like, in my mind, you have like a Warren Buffett approach to football in saying, I'm going to understand the coaches, I'm going to understand the system, and then I'm going to pick my winner. And then, I'm not going to talk about myself because that's ridiculous. But, you know, this is all to say we're incredibly experienced with fantasy football. We all played football and have a, good understanding. I'm statistically a really good fantasy football player. You know, I score the most points in the league every year. That's kind of what I do. I don't ever win, but I score a lot of points. So
first loser.
Take what you say with a grain of salt, but we've been right about a lot of things.
Yeah. So let's just say, for more news, because this was by far the craziest 2 weeks in the NFL, find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. You'll find us three. We're going to be talking so much more about the offseason and just how everything goes. Again, thank you again for listening.
Important signing, Mike White re-signed with the Jets just this second.
Our Lord and Savior, Mike White.
Mike White, everybody. Round of applause.
They still have Flacco, don't they?
Yeah, they have Flacco.
Yeah, they got Flacco and White and Wilson.
Yeah. Jeez. Oh yeah, you need those three based on how last year went.
Yeah.
But again, thank you all for buckling up, following free agency with us. We will see y'all next week.
Adios.